Hey, welcome back to the home of original sports perspective from our couch to yours. This is your host, Jermaine Lockett. Check on your fellow Ravens fan. We are not okay. We are not okay. Last night was in front of the entire world, phone blowing up, text messages, everything. Everybody was coming for me, and rightfully so. These Ravens looked bad, real bad. I mean, it looked like an expert at Mortal Kombat versus somebody who kept spamming the same button over and over and over again and lucking up. That's kind of what it felt like last night. They just kept blitzing the Baltimore Ravens with the same thing over and over and over again. And this expert had no answer for them. That extra expert being Greg Roman. Greg Roman was the reason the Ravens did not put up points last night. They could not. They had no answer to the blitz. Had no answer to pretty much man coverage, zero blitzes. When all you could see it clear as day. Like on the play that was the fumble six by Sammy Watkins, it was clear as day that hey, they just needed a slant. They needed a drag. They needed a crossing route, something to come across Lamar's face. And it just didn't go as planned. It was just a horrible, horrible game plan by the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, they recognize that previous teams were able to succeed using screens, but Baltimore just is not screen game is just not their thing. They just cannot seem to get it down. It just doesn't go very well for them. To lose this game the way we did, 10-22, the defense did their thing, and they just kind of gave up on. They had two big plays, shot plays, basically, that made the difference in this game. The offense was absolutely just abysmal all the way around. They just could not get this ball down the field. They did not figure out a way to make the best out of these man-to-man matchups. It looked like cover four, but obviously it was zero blitzes. They were just respecting the space, and then Baltimore should have taken advantage of the space that was given because it was just that bad. So let's talk. I ain't got too much time today. Let's go ahead and talk about these predictions here that I got completely. Well, I was a little off on them, let's just say. What I guess before I get into that, I just want to say, look, you know what? The Ravens will bounce back. There's no need to sit here and talk about let's fire this person, let's fire that person. People make mistakes. People make mistakes. The defensive schemes have been okay thus far this year. And I think against the Dolphins for about 3.5 quarters, they were pretty solid. They were pretty solid. And it was just a lapse, like a communication error as far as the coverage. And you see that because it was man coverage that left a huge gaping hole in that defense, and that's what caused the game. Baltimore was on their way for that magical comeback that they were usually trying to do, which I had said, hey, before the game, I said, hey, please, no close games. Give Baltimore the blowout that they deserve. And it just did not happen. It was terrible. I cannot believe that we had to sit through that. Wilbur, yes, the issue. What is it? Let's see what Wilbur has to say here. We're just going to put this up here. He's definitely here to hurt my feelings. It's the issue is the Ravens do too well despite adversity each year. And that means Roman will keep his job. Y'all have to tank to get a new OC. Here's my thing. I have been protecting Roman like crazy. I think the last couple of days, everybody has been coming for this man's head. They want his job, but I just go ahead and hit that warning. I have to hit the warning button saying, hey, look, if you get rid of Roman, look at the careers of the players that Roman has left. Colin Kaepernick was doing just fine until Roman left, and his production went through the floor. Tyrod Taylor was doing great, only threw 6 interceptions over 2 seasons and was about to earn $29 million a year. Roman gets fired on a night that he happens to put up 37 points in one game. The offense, anyway, still gets fired because he was the scapegoat for Rex Ryan. And what happens? Production goes through the floor for Tyrod Taylor. He loses his job, and you can see right now that Tyrod's still not doing well without an offensive coordinator that matches up. So yeah, Tyrod gets fired. He goes to Houston, and Roman gets fired. Tyrod goes to Houston or stays in Houston with Roman, and then they end up doing well. So I just don't think that getting rid of Roman is the answer. I'm thinking allowing Keith Williams to have more of a voice in the game plan is the way to go. It's the better way to go when it comes to trying to solve this issue of what's up with the Ravens offense. So I ain't got too much time today. Let's just go into the banners, go into the predictions, and we'll go ahead and show you what's going on here. Prediction number one: Rashad has a big day. First touchdown versus the Dolphins. He was close. He was close, and when the Ravens started using him towards the end of the game, you could see production start to go a little bit higher because he was starting to win those one-on-one matchups. The good thing out of this game was that Baltimore is going to gain more confidence with Rashad in the future in those one-on-one matchups because now they know that he can win those. They didn't give him a chance to try until they were down in the game. Like, hey, let him win those one-on-one matchups. This is what he was brought here for. He's a first-round wide receiver. Let that boy work. And if y'all see Hollywood's hands anywhere around on the streets of Miami or in Baltimore, please call somebody and let him know that they are out there. Find them and give them back, please. There's got to be some type of reward for Hollywood's hands. If y'all see them, I'll be looking myself over here in Nebraska. I don't know how they got all the way up here, but I imagine they're somewhere around here. So if you see Hollywood's hands, please go ahead and give him a shout out on Instagram and let him know, hey, we found your hands. You know, they're in good place right now. We got them safe. They're stuck in the freezer. Please just come and get them and put them back on. Hey, what's going on, Wesley? I appreciate you coming through, man. Hey, if you see, anybody who is hurting right now, just go ahead and reach out, give them a hug, let them know, Ravens Nation is going to be okay. This is just a small bump in the road. The Ravens, they stunk up the joint. Sometimes, apparently, national games, big primetime games right now is not our thing. I think we're like 1-2 or something like that. At least for the ones I invited my friends over for. Yes, it's been pretty bad. My friends in here watching a grown man cry in the living room. It's just not a friendly sight. So anyway, we were talking about Rashad Bateman and having a big day as far as the prediction. I was definitely wrong on it, but as far as you fantasy folks, he did okay. He did better than Hollywood Brown because Holly, it looked bad for the guy. I mean, it was drops. Like, come on, my guy. I like you. I'm a huge fan when got the T-shirt, everything, but you ain't making it in this room here until you go ahead and put up just a consistent amount of production on primetime games. I need you to show up for sure. See here. Let's go over to our next prediction. Prediction number 2, Jaylen Waddle scores TDs. I think the Miami offense, as far as when you look at the stats, they got some plays off. You had 2 receivers over 80 yards. You had Jaylen Waddle, who I think he had about 60-some yards, and I think he could have scored, but it just didn't happen tonight. So I was definitely wrong on that prediction. Like I said, I got to keep rolling simply because, work is coming up shortly here. I wish they gave me an extra day off. It'd been great. Wesley says, I can't wait for an overhaul on defense and the offensive line through the draft. Yes, I think there are some needs that need to be addressed, and I can't blame the offensive line when they had 0 blitzes the entire time. There was just too many men to cover than there were offensive linemen. This is where the Ravens needed to adjust and figure out how to run a drag route and how to run a slant across Lamar's face, or even skinny seams that he could use the tight end and jump ball up the daggone field. So let's see. Momo says, yeah, it's hard, but we still on the good way with all these injuries. Greetings from Germany. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the love. Hey, man, make sure you share this. Hit that like button, y'all. For those in the room, hit that subscribe and smack the bell, folks. I need all the love we can get. We're going to try to get this thing going. I'm trying to get to 1,000. And also, I don't know if y'all saw the last video, but we're trying to get rid of this mustache here or name it. Figure out names for the mustache or give me subscriptions. If I can get to 765 subs, we will go ahead and shave this mustache. Maybe I even do it on the air. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Let's see. Golden Rule Joe. What's happening? Says, what about the offensive line? Look, I told you, with 0 blitzes, you cannot cover every single player. They were sending, They were sending 7. They were sending 7 players in these daggone 0 blitzes because they were just manning up the rest. And Baltimore, all they had to do was run a slant. The one time they do run a slant, it's a fumble for 6. If Sammy had held onto the ball on his one catch on the evening, because he was 1 of 3, so one catch, one fumble, and then that was returned for 6. If he had did his job, Baltimore would recognize that is the formula to beating this 0-man blitz. All right, so the offensive line can't pass block or pull or stunt. Yeah, there were some issues, so some major issues, but it's just like I said, Miami had the same play going every single down, just about. Baltimore has never been blitzed this much. I don't think any team has been blitzed this much all season long. Wilbur Gross says, what was going on with the secondary and those communication issues? They allowed too many different too many big plays. Motion, you could see it every single time. When it came to that, it was supposed to be man coverage. Somebody thought, hey, it was zone when it wasn't zone, and they didn't travel with their man, which is what left Wilson wide the heck open up at the top. And he just he went for big. He went for big, folks. I see Lamar on his back too much. Yes, but that was the blitzes, folks. If they run, you've seen it with Tom Brady back in the day. You blitz Tom. Tom is reactive. Tom is able to see, okay, let me go ahead and audible here, and this is going to be a drag. This is going to be a drag. This is going to be an out route. Or if I have a backdoor with a real route to the running back. Baltimore did not adjust very well, and that is on Greg Roman. That is on Lamar. They both need to sit down and figure out, hey, how do we react to these situations? They need to put themselves on the fire a little bit more in practice and figure out how Lamar is going to adjust in these high-pressure situations, and running can't always be the answer. And Lamar was definitely on his back a great deal. It was tough, man. Real tough. Let's go ahead and show this prediction number 3 here. Ravens defense gets 2 sacks. Yes, I was right on that, because I think they got about, I want to say 4 sacks, or did he? 1, 2, yeah. We got 4 sacks. 4 sacks. So I was glad to be right on that prediction, but I'd rather be wrong and end up getting the W than be right and get the L. And the other prediction I was right on was that Odafe Oweh gets 1 of those sacks. He did have a sack on the day, and the pressure seemed to be getting at the defense. Like I said, through 3 quarters, it looked like it was holding up pretty well. But at the same time, like I said, it was just 1 or 2 plays, just little slips to where those chains got moved, or big plays that were given up to where the Dolphins were actually able to put up 3 points or maybe even score. And so it's just like, hey, Baltimore's just got to pull it together. They got to get the communication better. Nobody needs to be fired. Y'all, I know y'all are clamoring and beating the table saying fire Roman, fire Wink. Well, here's the thing. Everybody's talking about fire both of them. What are you going to be left with? Do you know what you're going to be left with? You could be left with a Mike Singletary type of guy on defense as a defense coordinator who's pulling his pants down at halftime. Or we could get somebody who's just going to open up the full floodgates and nobody knows how to run an entire defense altogether. I mean, this is what you're really looking forward to. It's just pretty much uncertainty when you fire somebody if it's going to get better or not. And then with Greg Roman, there's so many schemes for the ground game that he has up here and on his play repertoire or his portfolio that, you're going to lose. You're going to lose those types of schemes when you move over to a new offense. Now, is that going to be good or is that going to be bad? I'm not sure. I'm hoping that it would turn better if they got rid of Roman, but we just don't know. And you still need that continuity for all of the motion that the Ravens run out of all of those different sets that they have. With every single RPO play, every motion, this is all Greg Roman, folks. If Keith Williams, who comes in with no experience, takes over as the offensive coordinator, what are we getting out of the package? He knows how to run routes. He knows how to set up the passing plays, but what about the running coordinator? What's the run game coordinator? Because that's Geno. That is Geno, folks. We're going to get on to our final prediction here that I got wrong. Geno Stone balls out. So look, I was really hoping that this guy got more snaps. I think he was kind of splitting snaps with Stevens, and it was okay. It wasn't phenomenal. There was no pick. I'm hoping he gets more chances in the future to show that he can be that true free safety, and Baltimore can actually switch to a cover 3, because man coverage, it only works so well if everybody's communicating. But when you got new players coming back off of injury, like Chris Westry, I don't think that he recognized when the shifts were happening, when they were in zone. I think, like I said, just major miscommunication, and it was part on him on that big play. I think there wasn't a shift to let everybody know, like, hey, this guy is in motion. He needs to actually run with that guy. He's supposed to travel with Wilson and be able to go upfield. You look at that play, Chris Westry is the only one sitting back looking like he's trying to be in the zone coverage when that shouldn't have been the case. So I think that play may have been on him. I'll have to go back and look at the tape some more. But that is what I wish that Geno Stone had a better game to make my prediction correct. Maybe it would have helped turn the outcome of this particular game. Let's see. Final prediction, yeah, I was way off on that. 27-24. Like I said, I like to put it out there. This is the accountability tracker to let me know, hey, when I'm wrong, when I'm right. Those are the things that I like to make sure I'm tracking to let y'all know, like, hey, I'm not just some weatherman who doesn't care if I get the prediction wrong or right. But Baltimore needs to get together a little bit better. Is pretty much the wide receiver production and the offensive coordinator. Like, drops was a huge thing. And then just moving those chains. Baltimore didn't get I think they were 0-5 on first downs through the first and I think halfway through the second quarter. When they got the first down, I was just like, oh, okay. Well, that looks good. I was like, that's what that looks like. And I think on that drive, Baltimore had so many penalties or help from the refs. It was crazy. I think they were just trying to keep Baltimore in this game with all the penalties that Baltimore was able to rack up. And it still wasn't enough. Lamar, I think he had like 238 passing yards and only like 39 rushing yards. He just could not find a running lane when the things wasn't open, and I think he was holding the ball just a little bit too long. I definitely saw a Deshaun Watson impression there with him holding on that ball. And also, hey, just so y'all know, we are still on the lookout for Hollywood's hands for those of y'all who just came into the room. Let's see here. There's a couple of comments here. I'm going to answer those, and then I got to go get dressed and get ready for work here. Let's see here. We need better players. Ticket messed up my fantasy football points. Ticket messed up my fantasy football. I don't know what he's saying. Let's see. Did Brandon Williams even play? No, Brandon Williams did not play. You can see he was actually on the sidelines, deactivated and street clothes. Let's see. Wesley says, I've never even heard his name called. Did he even play? No, he did not play. Wilbur says, I'm glad you can acknowledge the refs were calling some bogus plays, trying to keep the Ravens. I call it like I see it. It's obvious that it looked like the Ravens was being kept in that game by the referees because there was I want to say it was a roughing the passer call where Lamar just got a little tap. And it was just a little shoulder-to-shoulder tap, and they called full-on roughing the pass. And I thought that was just like, I was like, all right, look, this is some serious Ravens or the refs trying to keep this thing interesting. Maybe they got the phone call from New York saying, hey, look, make this a game because this is one of our premier teams here, and they're getting embarrassed. It's looking pretty bad here. But you have to look at it like, hey, the Ravens have to do a better job, all around better job. They have to figure out how to stop a blitz. I mean, and that's pretty much, it's basic. It's very, very basic. That's the first thing you need to learn is how to make sure you beat that pressure. And if the Ravens had to use what I was mentioning before, I kept saying out routes, screen passes, skinny seams. So they did try the screen passes. There entirely too many of those. As a matter of fact, it was like, I felt like it was like 8 or 9 of those. And they just kept going back to it. But it was screen passes to the running backs. Screen passes to the wide receivers when it should have been screen passes to the running backs, like draw in that blitz and then dump it over top to the running back. But that just wasn't happening. I think that was a huge problem for the Baltimore Ravens in their loss there because they did not utilize the running back the way that they should have. Probably should have used the running back the way that the Miami Dolphins used that offensive lineman on that screen pass that was illegal, but they definitely should have. Honestly, they should just got a touchdown because, I mean, that was his moment. He's going to call his mom about that, or maybe he already talked to her already. All right, let's see here. Wilbur says, I hope the Ravens figure it out after the Browns sweep. Hey, don't come in here with that Browns nonsense again. You sit here. It's too early for this, man. It's too early. We still here soaking on this. You're going to take these shots and say the Browns going to come in here. Wilbur, don't be start that mess, man. Start that mess. All right, Wesley says running backs can't pick up the blitz. They couldn't. Like I said, it was just entirely too many people coming. They were sending 7, man. You sending 7 and you only got 6 blockers. That's a problem. You can't even. I mean, it was just bad. Pat Ricard was on the field a great deal because they were trying to stop the blitz. Weber says in the Ravens the defense, the running backs can't pick up 7 people. It's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, 7 people rushing, you can't pick them up, man. It's just not going to happen. You want to be able to give Lamar time to be able to step up in the pocket. And if he can't step into those throws, that's when you started to see whenever Lamar was trying to throw those out routes to Hollywood, it was just outside the top of his hands. Now, granted, when it's hitting those hands right up in this area, that's when you got to be that guy. You got to step up and be that guy. And Hollywood was not doing that. I mean, when you get targeted, he got targeted 13, 14 times, I want to say. Yeah, Holly got 13 targets, made 6 catches, and I would say a majority of those was drops. He's got to get it together, folks. Get Hollywood together. Yeah, can't blame Justin Tucker. I mean, he was a 48-yarder. 48 yarders are not gimmies. That was his second miss of the season. I mean, what we going to do? We can't put the whole game on this guy's back. Yeah, you can't ever make a field goal. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to say there. He said everybody has high expectations for Tucker. Yes, Tucker has high expectations because he's been so consistent throughout the years. But you know what? That's still my guy. That is still my guy right there. And I think he's still going to perform at a very high level. And I think it's just this particular game, it was just off. Everything was off. You could see Sammy's face from the beginning of the game. He looked like he was spaced out, like he just wasn't in the game. And then when he gets an opportunity to get in the game, things just go bad. You could see this Ravens team they were dealing with. I mean, heat injuries, cramps. It was just a tough environment to walk into in a primetime game. All right. So Gross has got to go, man. Hey, I appreciate you, man. You take care. Got to get ready for work as well. But last couple of thoughts. Look, the Bears are next. This Bears team is a good football team. I don't care if Pittsburgh used the refs to win the game. The Bears should have won that game. This is not going to be a walk in the park. There's going to be plenty of time to do analysis and everything else. Y'all go ahead, like I said, reach out to your fellow Ravens fan. Make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe, and smack the bell because it's going down whenever I choose to make it go down. But I feel like, hey, we got to check on each other. Make sure we look out for our fellow Ravens fan. Make sure we're showing a lot of love here. And then Wesley says, but the truth is everyone had a bad day. Unfortunately, last night was his night. So I'm hoping this is the wake-up call the Ravens need to recognize we don't need to be in close games anymore. We don't need to make sure this is a close game. We need to quit making sure there's a lot of suspense. We don't need to wait until we get punched in the mouth before we put this ball downfield and start scoring in games. So hopefully the Ravens look at this and say, hey, we can do better. We can be better. Oh, yeah. Good seeing you, Wesley. Yeah, we can do better. We can be better for this team. And I think it all comes down to how we're going to use these big-time targets. They got to figure out how they're going to get Sammy Watkins in the game and use him the right way and not let him take away the snaps that Bateman has. And then you got Duvernay sitting here taking snaps, but Duvernay has only been good on that one play, and that's that reverse, and then he does stuff in the red zone. Get those snaps to Sammy. Or give those snaps to Prochet, somebody who's actually going to be that short route guy. I appreciate you, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate you saying, hey, have a nice day at work. You too. Y'all be safe out there. Hey, I got to get rolling too, but this is the home of Original Sports Perspective. From our couch to yours. Hey, do me a favor. Make sure you share this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Like I said, smack that bell because we're trying to build. Let me get to at least 800, before the end of next month. That would be sweet. That would be a great Christmas present. If I could get to at least 800. So y'all could help me out there. Share this with your friends and family. Every Baltimore Ravens fan that you know of, go ahead and send that content. And if y'all do that for me, I'll make sure you go ahead and get an opportunity to get on the show with me. We'll do split screens and we'll just talk it up. Hey, this is the home Original Sports Perspective from our couch to yours. Thanks for listening to your Couch Rider Raven. Y'all take care. 2 claps. Fade to black.